Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Scott Musgrave. This is part 3 in a 3-part series. And the first part of the series went over vision, define, and tell. So look for part 1. Part 2, we learned about the red ocean and blue ocean and how to shift away from the red ocean and create a new opportunity in the blue ocean. Today is all about trade, craft, artistry, intuitive, and mastery. And this is generally the process of what it takes to move into areas of specialty and learning how to build your vision so that you can define more than what you're currently doing. So for example, I was in the military. I left the military and I started working on a trade with learning how to build houses. And from that, I got a little bit tired of being outside. I was bashing my thumb. And at the time I was dating a girl that was a hairstylist. And she would say, you should think about going to hair school. And I didn't see the connection. I went from Marines to carpentry. But you know what? She saw something inside of me. I loved art. I was a sleight of hand magician. I would draw. I would just express myself artistically. And she saw something that I didn't see. So as I talked about in here about the vision, you're going to have people say things and it's going to register in your spirit. So it's like a God highlighting moment. God's highlighting to me that you have potential, that you can do something more. So I said, you know what? I'm going to give it a try. But you know what? I went to school in high school and I went to summer school twice and I failed English and I barely made it out of high school to be able to get into the Marines. So I had these registered mindsets that said, I'm not smart, I can't communicate, I don't write, I hate to read, and all I want to do is do a trade that I can live out the rest of my life. Well, that plan doesn't work. It's like God's thwarting your plan to reveal more potential inside you so that He gets the glory, not me get the glory. So I went to trade school and I went from hairstyling, and I found out that if I applied myself, I could be top of the class, and I was top of the class. I learned how to read. I had a passion. I already knew how to read. I learned how to like reading. I learned how to love reading. And I went to be an information freak. I realized that in school, when I looked at all the textbooks of the body and the anatomy, what the hair does, your diet, your nutrition, the skeletal system, all affects how all of this affects becoming a hairstylist was fascinating to me, and I loved it. So I went from being to trade school for hairstyling. So maybe you're a tradesperson. Maybe you went for air conditioning, plumbing. Maybe you went to architectural school, and that's a trade. And I don't want to diminish or minimize your profession. But everybody goes to school to learn something, and you start out with a trade mindset. That's your trade. When I, as a hairstylist, I learned my trade in school. And I go to hair educational events. They're called trade shows. And they have booths with thousands of people, and they just reinforce what it is how you can train. So that becomes a part of your vision and define how you do things, because they're telling you what you should be doing. And this becomes a red ocean or a blue ocean that we discussed. So a big part of this is then moving to a hair salon, and I started incorporating their craft. They started teaching me how they craft hair. Their business structure. This is their defined vision of how we do business here. And you fit in or you don't fit in. Over time, I found out that my craft started revealing a form of artistry that I had passion for. I had passion for long hair. I had passion for curly hair. I had passion for making straight hair, curly hair. I loved working with long hair. Some people love working with short hair. And some people love working with families. I like working with business people. So this becomes a form of craft that eventually, in craft trade environments, I eventually just realized I'm going to be doing better on my own. So in the state of North Carolina, you can leave a hair salon and go form your own by becoming an independent contractor or a booth renter, where you have a room, something like this, and you set up a chair and you start doing business in there, and you do whatever you want, you work whatever you want. So I started focusing on curly hair, and that's my form of artistry, to reach a point where I stopped working on certain people. I no longer accept straight hair clients. I no longer work on many guys. I no longer worked with many children. I stopped working with hair color because of inhaling the fumes. The fumes started affecting my respiratory system. So your artistry becomes a specialty in something. So I ask you, are you still in the trade mode? If you're thinking about going to hair school and you want to specialize in curly hair artistry, first you need to learn the craft. So there's nothing wrong with the journey that you have to go through. You have to go through it to become a better craft person and become a better artist. So once you become a form of specialty, you specialize in one thing, and I'm just labeling that as artistry. Over time, some people were watching me and they started knowing that I was doing some things intuitive, second nature, that was different from the training that they went to, the trade and the craft that they attended. They started noticing my artistry. So I started writing down the second nature part of this, and this is a part of defining undefined moments that you do to make your craft more of an art. And once you start defining it and labeling it, then you're putting it into a system that makes it teachable. So I went from intuitive to mastery, and mastery over years. This takes years to be able to incorporate all of this mastery into a part where people start saying, teach me, I want to learn what you're doing. And I start revealing their artistry. I start showing them their own intuitive motions that becomes their form of system, that becomes a whole encompassing system. Because once it becomes a mastery, I no longer go to trade shows. I no longer spend time in craft events. The mastery part that I learn the most from is the students that attend my trainings. I learn the most from watching them. I can define undefined things that becomes a part of their system that I incorporate into my system. So it becomes a part of affecting each other, bouncing off of each other, this level of artistry and excellence that over time you become an expert in this that you can keep to yourself. But if you start noticing your intuitive nature and you start mastering this and teaching it to other people, then it becomes a circle. The trade students that come out now immediately don't want to go to a salon and learn the craft. They want to learn the craft of curly hair instead. And then the accelerate and the artistry becomes quick in a year or two instead of going 10 years in there, 6 years in there. So then all of a sudden their intuitive nature is exploding because of the environment that they're in, and they form a form of mastery that then takes the legacy that I have is now incorporating into them to become their own legacy. And as a part of that legacy is I'm helping other people build their own form of legacy. So this becomes trade, craft, artistry, intuitive mastery. And I always ask everybody in my trainings, where are you on this scale? And a lot of people will say artistry. Some of the newer people will say probably trade. But there's a few veterans that have been around for a while, and they say they're in the mastery program. But what's interesting is they haven't been through the artistry intuitive training that I've given them. And when I start training them on my own programs, all of a sudden the vulnerability pops up, the ego drops down, the humility rises up a little bit to realize I'm not a master yet. I'm still in maybe the craft and artistry stages. So it becomes a form of reality. But like a Russian doll that has a little and a bigger and a bigger and a bigger, and you open it up and you get down to the small one, neither one of these is better than the other. But when you put them all together, they're a form of exactly who you need to be. And so I have no problem dropping my ego, dropping anything to talk to tradespeople, talk to craft people, learn from them, incorporate that into how I intuitively do things, and it becomes an expanded system. So that's the beautiful part of curly hair artistry is you can take trainings elsewhere, but when you come to one of our trainings, you're going to experience a level of intuitive training that's usually not taught anywhere, and that makes us very unique. And that becomes a thing where you feel like you're overwhelmed in the red ocean, then we provide a new opportunity for you by expanding your vision, defining your service experience, and actually giving you a vocabulary of how to communicate and tell the world exactly what you do. So if you would like more information about what we do, there's a link down below that you can click on that gives you all the information, for example, of Curly Hair Artistry website, the Mastery Program, Cultivate Your Curls is an online course for consumers of learning how to embrace their hair that's different from anything else in this world. It's a new opportunity of how to embrace their hair with the opportunities that we give them with Curly Hair Artistry and myself and a team of people and live trainings that help to break down limiting beliefs and old ways of doing things to give you a new form of artistry that leads to an intuitive mastery program of how to build up your business that's been successful for over 8 years now. So we invite you into that. If you're interested in doing that, then check out the links down below. Also, leave some comments. Give me your thoughts and ideas of where you are and what you would like to specialize in, maybe what you would like to communicate to the world, because I help entrepreneurs, and I'll put down a link below, a platform that I use for building up my business, that if you sign up under that link, it's my affiliate link, I'll guide you for 30 days for free, meeting you once a week for up to an hour to help you develop this program, to help you express these things and help get people out of a red ocean and into your blue ocean new opportunity. I'll help you do that for free as a part of signing up under my affiliate link program. So that's also underneath here. And I look forward to reading your comments and engaging with you throughout the comments over time. And you guys have a great day, because you are a blessing and it's time to start sharing your voice with the world. All right, have a good day.